Parker Schnabel never expected to find anything under the glacier that morning. He had assumed it was just dead ice, lifeless and solid, hiding nothing more than frozen gravel and a few streaks of sediment. But as soon as the first scoop of the excavator bucket cut into the ice, a stream of bright gold flakes spilled out. It was as if the mountain itself had been holding a secret for centuries, and now, finally, it was revealing it. Every sensor on the site immediately spiked. The ground beneath their feet trembled slightly, and the instrument screamed the same message. Something massive was hidden beneath the frozen surface. Parker knew instantly that this was not just another vein or streak of gold. This was something entirely different, something that could change the season for his team. The urgency hit him immediately. The glacier had hidden this gold for decades, maybe even centuries. If they did not act quickly, this once-in-a-lifetime discovery could be lost again, buried back beneath the ice forever. Parker moved through the site with purpose, checking drill cores and watching as the first glimpses of bright microgold appeared suspended within the ice. It glimmered without sunlight, almost impossibly pure. The drill operator, seeing the unusual core, called Parker over. The readings were showing a thermal anomaly. There was warmth trapped beneath the ice, something that shouldn't exist. Ice does not normally preserve heat, and yet there it was, indicating moving water and, with it, the possibility of moving gold. Parker immediately pulled out ancient maps, some so fragile their edges crumbled at the touch. They showed channels and routes long forgotten, back when the glacier was smaller and the land beneath it was exposed. Matching these old maps to their current GPS location, Parker realized that the glacier had moved just enough decades ago to completely bury an entire gold-bearing channel. No one had noticed it at the time, and it had remained untouched until this moment. Mitch and Dylan, Parker's key crew members, leaned in as the GPS scan confirmed the hidden chute beneath the ice. It was narrow, steep, and dangerous, but untouched and full of potential. Parker didn't hesitate. If this channel was intact, it could hold millions in preserved gold. They began the excavation cautiously. Dylan fired up the seismic scanner, sending waves into the ice to understand what lay beneath. The results stunned them. A stream of bright gold flakes spilled out. It was as if the mountain itself had been holding a secret for centuries, and now finally it was revealing it. Every sensor on the site immediately spiked. The ground beneath their feet trembled slightly, and the instrument screamed the same message. Something massive was hidden beneath the frozen surface. Parker knew instantly that this was not just another vein or streak of gold. This was something entirely different, something that could change the season for his team. The urgency hit him immediately. The glacier had hidden this gold for decades, maybe even centuries. If they did not act quickly, this once-in-a-lifetime discovery could be lost again, buried back beneath the ice forever. Parker moved through the site with purpose, checking drill cores and watching as the first glimpses of bright microgold appeared suspended within the ice. It glimmered without sunlight, almost impossibly pure. The drill operator, seeing the unusual core, called Parker over. The readings were showing a thermal anomaly. There was warmth trapped beneath the ice, something that shouldn't exist. Ice does not normally preserve heat, and yet there it was, indicating moving water, and with it, the possibility of moving gold. Parker immediately pulled out ancient maps, some so fragile their edges crumbled at the touch. They showed channels and routes long forgotten, back when the glacier was smaller and the land beneath it was exposed. Matching these old maps to their current GPS location, Parker realized that the glacier had moved just enough decades ago to completely bury an entire gold-bearing channel. No one had noticed it at the time, and it had remained untouched until this moment.
Mitch and Dylan, Parker's key crew members, leaned in as the GPS scan confirmed the hidden chute beneath the ice. It was narrow, steep, and dangerous, but untouched and full of potential. Parker didn't hesitate. If this channel was intact, it could hold millions in preserved gold. They began the excavation cautiously. Dylan fired up the seismic scanner, sending waves into the ice to understand what lay beneath. The results stunned them. Instead of solid frozen ground, the display revealed a hollow, B-shaped chamber where nothing should exist. This chamber was filled with dense metallic material concentrated in one area, something unnatural. Parker realized what it meant immediately. They were standing above a natural gold kettle, a rare formation where gold had been funneled by ancient floods and trapped under layers of sediment and ice. The ice hadn't destroyed the gold, it had preserved it perfectly for generations. The first layers of ice were carefully shaved away. The glacier resisted with cracks and groans echoing across the site. These weren't simple surface fractures. They indicated space below, space large enough to collapse if they misjudged even a single move. The tension was high, and Parker moved slowly, guiding the excavator inch by inch. The concave wall of blue ice revealed itself as a protective roof over the hidden vault. The chamber felt alive, almost as if it were breathing under the pressure of centuries. Sonar scans revealed a dense mass directly under Parker's feet, confirming what everyone already suspected. The top layers of ice and sediment were only a small part of the treasure below. The excavation revealed mud, water, and gold intertwined. Every bucket brought up a mixture of heavy minerals and glittering flakes. Tyler, one of the crew, tested the slurry and confirmed the results. 10 times the normal gold yield. The gold was not just abundant, but unusually pure. The ice above had preserved it in a perfect natural vault, compressed by centuries of pressure. Every layer they removed revealed more gold, more dense sediment, and thicker nuggets. This wasn't just a good find. This was a discovery that defied everything Parker had seen in his career. As they moved deeper, the ice above groaned louder. Meltwater dripped from the ceiling, softening the roof of the chamber and increasing the risk of collapse. Parker had to make decisions quickly. Every ounce they extracted now counted, because if the glacier shifted even slightly, the gold could be lost forever. He ordered the crew to work fast but carefully. Each scoop of the excavator revealed more heavy, glittering gold, mixed with gravel that had been packed under ancient pressure. Nuggets large enough to see without magnification tumbled from the buckets. This was unlike anything the crew had ever experienced in the Klondike. The mother layer of the kettle, the deepest part of the formation, proved even richer. The sediment was dense and nearly black, compacted by centuries of glacial pressure. Field tests confirmed gold content far above anything expected. Parker and the team were standing over a geological vault shaped by catastrophic floods and centuries of ice pressure. The excavator carefully traced the contours of the bowl-shaped formation, revealing a natural funnel that had concentrated gold in one perfect spot.
Every pass brought heavier, denser material, confirming that the richest portion still lay beneath them. As they reached the core of the vault, a massive boulder-like formation appeared. Quartz veins, jagged and thick, ran through it, host rock perfectly preserving the gold. Controlled ice blasts revealed the stone beneath. Gold streaks threaded through the quartz like molten metal frozen mid-flow. These were not flakes or dust, but solid, visible ribbons of gold. Parker knew immediately that the true treasure still lay beneath. Each scoop from the excavator brought up more concentrated material. Fist-sized nuggets appeared embedded in the sediment, each one heavier than anything they had previously mined. The chamber grew more unstable with every pass. Ice groaned, cracks spiderwebbed, and meltwater continued to drip from above. Parker made the call to push forward, knowing that retreating could mean losing the richest gold they had ever found. The crew responded with intense focus, removing sediment and gold as fast as they could. The excavator hit something solid, a massive fused clump of gold, the size of a small watermelon. There was no time to pause. Parker ordered one final pass, extracting every ounce they could before the chamber collapsed. The final scoop revealed a hollow pocket beneath the mother layer, packed with sticky, glowing pay dirt. Coarse gold and nuggets glittered in the slurry. Every bucket brought heavier material. Finally, the chamber roof groaned and collapsed slightly, signaling the end of the extraction window. The crew pulled back, hauling out what they had recovered. Back at the plant, the cleanup process revealed the staggering total. Every tray, every riffle, every mat overflowed with gold. The digital scale climbed steadily. 50 million, 70 million, 90 million, finally settling at $98 million. One pocket, one cleanup. The richest glacial gold trap Parker Schnabel had ever uncovered. The discovery was unlike any other. It wasn't just the amount of gold. It was the preservation, the age, and the natural formation of the kettle structure. A flood, sudden freezing, and glacial movement had compressed the gold into a natural vault, untouched for generations. Parker stood over the trays of gold, finally realizing that this was not luck. They had uncovered a chapter of Earth's history, a frozen vault older than the first miners to ever pan these lands. Every detail of the excavation, from the sonar scans to the melting ice and dense gold-rich sediment, confirmed that they had witnessed a once-in-a-century find. Once the initial extraction was complete, Parker and his crew began carefully mapping the chamber to understand just how much gold they might still have hidden beneath the ice. Every sensor, every measurement, and every visual inspection was meticulously recorded. The ice above was no longer stable. Cracks had widened, some spanning the entire roof of the chamber. Meltwater dripped faster now, following channels that had formed over centuries. The crew moved cautiously, knowing that even one slip could trigger a collapse that would seal the gold forever. Parker's leadership was crucial at this moment. He directed the excavator operator with precision, signaling when to scoop and when to pause, balancing speed with safety. The hollow chamber revealed more layers of dense, mineral-rich sediment with each pass. Tyler continued testing the slurry from each bucket, confirming gold content higher than anyone had expected. Nuggets of all sizes glistened in the sunlight, reflected through the remaining ice. Parker watched as coarse gold clattered from the buckets, some pieces large enough to catch and hold in one hand. He knew that each layer they removed brought them closer to the heart of the kettle, the richest section of the vault. The pressure of centuries had compressed the gold and gravel into a solid formation, a natural concentration that would have taken decades of mining elsewhere to accumulate. Here, it was all preserved perfectly by the glacier above. Mitch worked alongside Parker, monitoring the stability of the ice roof. He probed cracks and tested the edges to ensure that no sudden movement would endanger the crew. Each scrape of the shovel, each scrape of the bucket against the frozen sediment was done with extreme care. The team developed a rhythm, passing buckets of gold-rich gravel from the excavation site to the processing plant. Every movement was deliberate, almost surgical. Even with this precision, tension remained high. The sound of the ice groaning echoed throughout the chamber, reminding everyone that the vault above could collapse at any moment. Parker's mind was constantly calculating. He knew the numbers were already staggering, but the deepest sections of the kettle were still untouched. The mother layer, the foundation of the gold trap, promised the largest yield. Each scoop revealed a thicker, denser layer of sediment packed with nuggets. The mixture of gold, quartz, and black sands indicated that this deposit had been formed by violent ancient floods. These floods had carried gold from high up in the mountains and concentrated it into this single point, where ice had later sealed it, preserving it for centuries. Parker marveled at the natural engineering of the formation. No man could have replicated this concentration, and yet Here it lay, perfectly preserved and waiting to be uncovered. The crew's work intensified. As they reached the deeper sections, they discovered more massive quartz boulders, each streaked with thick veins of gold. Parker knew these boulders were key. Embedded within them were chunks of gold that had never seen human hands before.
The deeper they dug, the heavier and denser the gravel became. Nuggets larger than any seen before were embedded in dark, mineral-rich layers. Parker directed Mitch and Tyler to focus on these heavier sections, knowing that the center of the vault held the largest and most valuable deposits. The crew worked tirelessly, passing buckets of gold-laden gravel to the processing area with incredible speed. The ice above shifted constantly, but Parker's careful planning and leadership kept the operation moving safely. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the chamber. Ice from above had shifted, sending small slabs tumbling to the floor. Tyler and Mitch quickly cleared the debris, but Parker knew this was a warning. The roof was unstable, and every minute spent digging increased the risk of a catastrophic collapse. He signaled for the team to move faster but stay precise. Each scoop had to count, each pass carefully calculated to avoid triggering a disaster. Despite the danger, the excitement in the chamber was electric. They were uncovering a treasure unlike anything in modern mining history. The crew reached the central cavity, the heart of the kettle structure. Here, the gold was packed so densely that the excavator struggled under the weight. Parker could see nuggets stacked together like natural bricks, shimmering in the slurry. Every bucket brought up heavier and richer material than the last. Tyler and Mitch worked side by side, separating gold from gravel with practiced precision. The concentration of wealth was staggering. Parker estimated that even a small portion of this vault could be worth tens of millions of dollars. As they dug deeper, the ice above began to drip faster. Meltwater ran in streams across the chamber floor, softening the sediment and making each scoop heavier and more challenging. Parker directed the crew to adjust the excavator's speed, keeping it steady while allowing for maximum extraction. Each pass brought a mix of gold, quartz, and heavy minerals. The patterns in the gravel confirmed what Parker had suspected. The richest portion of the vault had not yet been reached. The mother layer was still waiting, packed with centuries of concentrated gold. The tension in the chamber increased as the roof above them shifted again. Cracks spiderwebbed outward, and small slabs of ice fell with hollow thuds. Parker signaled for the team to focus all efforts on the densest zones. Every movement was deliberate, with Tyler and Mitch guiding each bucket to ensure the safety of the crew. Parker could feel the adrenaline in the room. They were not just mining gold, they were uncovering a natural vault preserved by centuries of ice and pressure, and time was slipping away. As the final layer of the mother layer began to reveal itself, the gold concentration reached levels none of the crew had ever seen. Nuggets the size of fists, embedded in dense black gravel and streaked quartz, glinted under the lights. Tyler's tests showed yields far beyond any standard measurements. Parker realized that they had indeed struck a once-in-a-century deposit. The amount of gold was staggering, and every scoop brought them closer to understanding the full scale of the vault. With every bucket, the roof groaned louder. Parker knew they were at the brink. The ice could collapse at any moment, and the wealth beneath could be lost forever. He called for a coordinated extraction, focusing on the central pocket first. Mitch and Tyler worked tirelessly, guiding the excavator and clearing the debris, while Parker supervised the entire operation. The slurry from the excavation flowed heavily, filled with nuggets and gold flakes, some pieces almost too large to handle. The crew was in awe of the sheer scale and purity of the gold they were unearthing. Finally, after hours of careful extraction, Parker ordered one last pass into the central cavity. The excavator plunged into the mother layer, scooping up the richest sediment yet. The bucket was so full that the hydraulics groaned under the weight. As the slurry spilled onto the processing area, gold clattered loudly, thick chunks shining like molten metal. Parker and the crew stood in stunned silence, watching as the scale climbed. The numbers jumped quickly: $50 million, $70 million, and then $98 million. One single pocket,
carefully extracted, revealed more wealth than anyone had imagined possible. The ice above continued to shift, signaling that the chamber was no longer stable. Parker made the decision to stop digging. They had extracted the richest portion of the vault, and any further work would risk losing the entire deposit. The crew began to clean up the remaining sediment, carefully preserving every ounce of gold recovered. Tyler ran tests multiple times to confirm the concentration and purity, ensuring that their estimate of 98 million was accurate. Parker stood over the final tray, taking in the reality of the discovery. This was not luck. It was the result of years of experience, careful planning, and an unyielding determination to uncover hidden wealth. With the richest section of the vault secured, Parker turned his attention to organizing the cleanup and ensuring that nothing was lost in the chaotic excavation. The crew worked tirelessly, moving buckets of gold-laden gravel from the chamber to the processing area. Each tray was washed, every flake and nugget preserved for weighing and further analysis. The air in the camp was electric with excitement, but Parker knew better than to let celebrations begin too early. The glacier above was unstable, and a single misstep could have erased the entire discovery.
Carefully, they used controlled blasts of ice and hand tools to free the stones without damaging the gold inside. The procedure required patience. Each strike, each cut had to be calculated to prevent fractures that could scatter the treasure. Even the smallest mistake could ruin a portion of the haul. Tyler and Mitch worked side by side, handling the fragile layers of sediment and the heavy gold-laden quartz. As the day progressed, the team began noticing patterns in the sediment. Fault lines ran through the basin, acting as natural traps for the gold. Parker realized that the glacier's pressure had funneled every heavy mineral into these lines, creating zones of extreme concentration. Each scoop from these areas was richer than the last, and the crew could see the gold glinting through the slurry before it even reached the processing plant. The excitement was palpable. Every new discovery increased the stakes, but also reminded them that the ice above remained dangerously unstable. The vault had to be emptied carefully, or the entire find could be lost. By mid-afternoon, the team had uncovered what appeared to be the central cavity of the kettle structure. This area was deeper and darker, with heavier mineral concentrations. Fist-sized nuggets appeared more frequently, embedded in dark, dense gravel. Parker felt a mixture of awe and urgency. The scale of the find was unprecedented. Every movement was critical, as the glacier above shifted slightly under its own weight. Parker reminded the crew constantly to keep safety first, but efficiency was also crucial. They had limited time before the ice roof could give way. The excavation revealed pockets of gold that were nearly solid masses. Parker had never seen anything like it. Large nuggets glimmered in the sediment, some easily weighing several pounds. The process of extracting these required coordination. Mitch and Tyler carefully guided the excavator, while the other crew members cleared space and managed the flow of sediment to the processing plant. Every bucket brought up material heavier and denser than the last. The crew worked tirelessly, aware that even the slightest mistake could collapse the chamber and erase the entire discovery. As the roof groaned louder, Parker made a calculated decision. They would focus on extracting the densest portion first, the area most likely to contain the largest nuggets. The rest of the chamber would be cleared afterward, once the central pocket was secured. Each pass of the excavator revealed layers of gold-packed gravel, thick quartz veins, and mineral-rich sediment. Tyler continued field tests, confirming that the concentration of gold was beyond anything they had ever measured. It was clear that this find could exceed the value of all their previous discoveries combined. The team pressed on, carefully following the natural contours of the chamber.
The excavation was both physically demanding and mentally exhausting. Every movement had to be precise. The ice above shifted constantly, and meltwater trickled down into the workspace. The crew remained vigilant, aware that the roof could collapse at any moment. Parker's leadership was the backbone of the operation. He guided the team through every decision, balancing speed with safety, ensuring that each scoop maximized yield while minimizing